Perfect. Back to back to where we stopped. So we've been able to look at so many different things under the class of router. We've been able to look at constructors. We've been able private and public, private and public functions. We've seen things to do with adding routes. Uh, we've seen how the entire PHP syntax runs. So by the time we lost each other, we had entered into some of the very last segments of our code, and that is error handling, where we're saying that let the error response of 404, let the error response of 404.
But this here doesn't look irresponsible.
But is everything all the things I can do. So composing. Okay. We were looking at how to handle error responses of 404, where we are saying that HTTP response of error 404, and then we're going to say that if it's callable, so we shall say if um, is callable, whereby this, I wonder why I always forget this sign is a not found handler. Perfect. Then we shall proceed to say that call user function where this is handler, and then perfect. Ezinyuma neat and short. Ate nga ziba nyingi ku mutwe ezo. Ezo nno nyingi nnyo okusinga ezanga like 3 times over 4 5. This not found handler, then we return. Finding endala ate olaba ezo wezityo zeetaagisa care zikipinga neat ku mutwe nga tezikoze kaweke ebisigo byazo nebisigadde naye nga ate nnyingi ku mutwe zikola mu office zitambula zikola ki can find maybe any other.
Seriously, it wasn't all this happened to her.
Wait, can I force you to put on ekintu ekimpi nokyambala buli lunaku? You'd say you're uncomfortable. You can do it once in a while.
No, Baraka, nze ndikubanga kintu ekikunyumira.
Nange kuba bikunyumira.
Abanja bipite binyumira
Lwansonga ofiirika you're not comfortable in them. Yet kabakola tulanga binyumira. Empale nnyimpi. It's the same with all of us. As long as you're not comfortable in the way you are. So we shall say we have a not found view. We have a not found view that is in the views path. So it's in the views path. This should be views path, which we already defined to be up, then views path, and this should be 404.php. So this should just ideally be 404.php, and we want to say that there is a possibility if this exists or doesn't exist. So if the file exists, the not found view, then what should we do? In case it exists like just now, then we shall say you include it as a not found view. Else, if it doesn't exist, then let us just echo a short message that says page not found. So we can echo maybe we can place this in single marks. Can I screenshot the things we're taking? Page not found. Page not found. Okay. Then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to also work on the 405 error. So that was 404. When it comes to 405, we shall create a function that is, what did we call page not 405 is pay handle not allowed. So we can carry on this, but we change just one thing, changing this to allowed. And I want to be fine.
Monica, here add something. So cool.
Of course, it adds something. It adds something. That's why I'm saying hair represents me. If I'm going to increase hair on my head, it must be neat and not jam. Example ndalaye. That's nice hair. Go down at another ambulia womburu. Ambulia womburu chamba. There's also the check out in not and not allowed, which is an array of allowed methods. So shall say it's just that you're trying to mold me into what you want. I've tried that with you, but I just wanted you to look in a specific one we are no.
Which specific one?
Like ngoyambala mpalo bwo bwa skirt na nyimpi naye nga nti zinyumira nnyo mu abantu if you see Koreans. I will not even move.
Right, but where are they? Where are they? Have you bought them on a request? No.
Okay. Mm, HTTP response to 405.
But I'm telling you, they say I would be for them. So for them.
So let me see. So find one more other more category. Then I'll tell you. So if we say header, mu category nga si ki, find one more category mu bintu by'oyagala naye nga si kiri ng'olowooza kijja kunyumira. So we shall say in the header that allow, we need the 4405 response that must include an allow header listing valid methods. Okay. So what are we allowing? So we shall say implode that allowed methods. That's perfectly okay. Then we return. Okay. After returning, what am I doing? Header. No, this was wrong. Header, allow, implode, allowed methods. Then after doing that, we shall create a condition where we say if is callable, just like we do, then forbidden handler. But I prefer saying that this thing has an engine oxygen. Ntozowooza nti saagenda ku mutwe gwange ate zino nnyingi. Not allowed handler instead of forbidden handler. It is not allowed handler. Kankwe angena. Not allowed handler. So inside here we shall call user function where this is not allowed handler. That's okay. It's okay. Let's go with your first here. The one by there. It's okay. I've accepted.
Which one?
The ones so again. It's okay. Then this is when we do return.
Is that one? That is true.
It's okay. So is it callable? If it is not callable, then we need to call the function. User function not allowed handler, then we return. Otherwise, the default inline response should be echo
ono gaali mukulu mu real life.
yeah, sort of akuze oba kati kati wati kati nsijukiza ebbanga lyemaze nga siraba firimu lwengezako laba firimu ototoka tetunyana.
Handsome.
Yeah, he's cool abawala bamufa nnyo alina emize gy'okulwana emize gy'abawala omulwanira method tomanyi amount so and then we nsi mufeere esereko then we also echo we can also echo a paragraph just right under this. If you recall very well your your HTML, and in this paragraph we shall say allowed methods are let us try to separate this. We are going to do this, then right here in between we shall say, so this is a nagamba omusajja nti nkomola kakuba namusaya ddala nenkyusa ne baba sanuddire nze kakuba wange naye mwagala ajja mmeera naawe kakuba wange ameera just ebirevu bye birwawo. So we try to implode this and then we mention our allowed methods. Did we? I hope it's this. Yes, allowed methods. And that marks the end of our class router.php. That's about 240 lines of code. And this class, everything that is handled will be passed through this very class. So this is not the end of our routing. We need to work on app routes.php, and that's the next thing we have to do. Zikiza, so what next? So under here, I wonder why we still have errors in our code. Aweereza gwe aweereza nsi kyova amalisa agasevinga saving abakiraaya ati bagenda nkola setazungu ojja kugenda omanyanga olaba ali ogenda omuhaiding paka disa tabanga ono agenda bambuuza obuntu bungi kuva leero. But I choose to just look at the beginning. Omuntu agamba nti no write to a client so and so on WhatsApp. Ojja kuzibwa neno n'oteekamu ennamba ye y'essimu. Nze mpuya ennamba emu gy'omanyi teri ku WhatsApp. Nati mpa ennamba emu then nze nkikolaga eyo bagikola. Eyo erwedde safety. Ng'okimanyi teri safety. Kanteekeko URA okuba contactingako aba URA. Kanteekeko UN, kanteekeko aba umeme bayinza okuba bakyayi. Kale umeme be batajja tuddamu. Umeme WhatsApp number. Tojja buzzi wano nga bulijjo bw'otandika new chats. Then n'oyambuka wano waggulu n'oteekamu ennamba yaabwe 0772 285 285 285. Emana egisaakinga internet nekikuleeta tewetaaga gisevinga enaku zino bayita bayidise then oyiga send message okuwandiika not saved in system ogamba ayi ne bakuddamu yaaba neri automated ejja kweddamu automatically teri muntu kyekimu n'okuba ojja wano nonyeza keypad nobanga ku essimu yaddala ku whatsapp nti 0772 nokola enamba yabantu tesekotinga calls 285 285 ejja kubuulira oba eri ku whatsapp oba teri ku whatsapp oba eri ku whatsapp onyiga music call esa teyabantu tesekotinga calls nyekubirawo naye kati omwo mulimu ono yali atera okuvuga Maria Kananya namulala n'omulala. So anyways, we need to find out why we have errors in our code before we proceed further. So our biggest code challenge is here. So I have no much time to waste, but rather to just do this. Kyajogerera nsigakiza nsikiriza badde agatongera okukanamu kinakkiriza dda kizibu kyobulala bwolina. I've already accepted. Nakkiriza dda. We have allowed methods, and allowed methods do not show argument type mismatch. There is a mismatch between the argument we created allowed methods. Allowed. It could be a typo. Allowed methods. Allowed methods. It's existent. Anyway, let's find out. In this generation, debugging is very, very simple. All you have to do is to just come here and ask the question. So tutandika ddi kyekyetaagisa first things first okutuukawo oba ogenda kundabisa bubi. Fix the second allowed methods error. Oh, I now know before they even answer me. I know the answer. It's because this line is not ended. No, that's not the reason. There are two errors. Missing comma between implode and the string. Okay, so we missed a little comma. Okay, so these minor errors are really very dangerous, and that really does the magic. So the only thing we have to do is to just move this to that position so that when we implode we get a comma, then outside here is a comma, then allowed methods gets to be had. Then we have warnings on handle not found. These warnings we can leave them for now. Yeah, we can leave them for now. They're not errors actually. So we get to move to routes.php, and the purpose of routes.php is that It does route definitions. All application routes are registered here, and this file is loaded by index.php after the router is created. The syntax is very simple. We shall say each router and then we attribute it to its particular view name. Um, and each one of them is a URI, sweetheart Webers. So shall say PHP, and then we get started. Here we don't waste time. We start with the home router. So the home router, everything with this has been catered for, and so we just need to say I prefer using a single quotation marks. I wish this this autocomplete just understands. So slash URI is home, and the name. Now this is an old way of doing things, honestly. So this is one way, but for us here we don't do double ways of, we just add a comma here and then we say we shall mention this is home, so that every single time we have home.php it's called home. Yep. So we shall follow the same trend and we say I think I did an error. It's not a URI, it's just a backslash. That router says that every time you have a slash, it goes to home, and home is home.php, where we already trimmed off the .php in the router class, so the router class would understand. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say that we want slash about to load the about file, and so we want that URI to load that view, and the route name is about. So ideally, the concept is very simple. This is what we're trying to do. We are trying to do something called we are mentioning the router, and the router tends to get when it comes to get, we get the URI we want, and then we get the view name we want, the view name we want, and then we get the route name we want. The next thing is the route name we want. So route name we want, and that's what we are doing. Soon we shall see how we are going to go about those that have unique IDs, their parameters, and the function to call. Let's first proceed from here. So we shall proceed by saying router. Again, we shall say in the first part we shall call so the contact page, we say get shows the form, and then the post handles the submission, and all done within our own route. So we shall use the get function to get slash contact, and then after getting the slash contact we shall say that its view name is contact, and its route name is contact.show. That is the route.name. Okay, let's separate this a little from. So after getting the get, we need to do the post of this contact. So we shall say post slash contact, and it's contact submit. Mm, and it's the route dot name is contact dot submit. So contact dot submit. Mhm. So we had the first one where we had just the URI and the view name. We had this one. We have these ones where we have route name. Then we can have a third possibility where we have a format like this. Let me first copy this. The third possibility is having the URI, then slash the params that we're working on. Then after that, instead of having the view name and so on and so forth in the second position, we get to have a function. And this function is an array, mhm, of p that would give us whatever is in between here. So that's another format of routing. So to exhibit that, mm, but before we get into that, let us first see some dynamic routes that we're talking of earlier. For example, we can say router.get, and the first one is slash user slash their ID of the user, and this route is user, and route.name would now become user.show. Mhm. So in case the user has a unique ID, we can get to show them. Now that we have the get, we can we can try one for slugs. In case you want to create a one of a slug, this would be, for example, slash. Now for sports scope, we shall have commentaries. So you can say commentary. Okay, you can say blog. It's also okay. Slash that unique slug that we don't know of that commentary, and then we have the view name called post, and this would come to post.show. Now back to what can be callable. Callable route where we use closures for lightweight responses that don't need a full view file. This would be something like this. So we can create a route to get anything like maybe ping, for example, and instead of creating these other two just like earlier, we just say function, um, and in this function, which has no parameter, we can get to do this, and then we say okay, you can say something like let the header okay, so we can say the content, mhm, the content type, mhm, the content type. We shall see this a lot when we are working on APIs where we get to define the output. So we want this to be a JSON file output. Then right out after this, we can get to define that. Okay, we can just say echo JSON encode decode encode. Yeah, it's encode. JSON encode status. Autocomplete is lost. It's okay. Status, let status be okay. So when status is okay, and then we have sort of a timestamp. And the timestamp is also the current time given. So after echoing those two, right out of this, we can just say ping. Cool. It's a simple one, though, just for illustrative purposes, but we shall upgrade later. It can get longer than this. Then we can get one for the 404 handle that you had created earlier. So we shall say again router should give us so everything here isn't what we want, but rather we want to set not found. After setting not found, we have a function within here, and this function carries no parameter that would give us as usual HTTP HTTP response code 404. Then we go on to use some of the things we used earlier. We say it was view file, I think. View file is a directory too. So that is /views/404.php. Having defined that, we shall say that if, just like we did earlier, if the view file exists, then what should we do? If that file exists, then we need to include it. I think that's what we did. We need to include this view file, or else we echo. We can use this, but in a more simpler way, by just saying we can just say we can just say h2, h2, then we just say file not found or page not found. That's a little clean and shorter. Okay, there should be something to totally close this. Good. Then we can also do something similar for the router of set not allowed. So thank you for guessing, but this is set not allowed. So we do something similar, but this time around it's for 405, not 404. So this is 405. And here we don't need that much logic. We can just say that's just echo. We can echo method not found. Let's see what we did at the very bottom. So we echoed this. We can reuse it here. We can echo those two and we are good. All right. So we've been able to cover everything to do with routes. Now the only thing left is to create these particular pages in the views folder that that we are routing to. And in your assignment to you is to ensure that these files are existent within this. Yeah, is to just ensure that we are totally inclined inside of these. Without further ado, that's all from me, and I wish you a good night. So I've managed to cover up every date that I had with you. I hope that helped a lot.